Jameis Winston doing a great thing amid the pandemic. He set up a national hotline for anybody who has questions about symptoms, what they may need to do. Excellent work by Jameis Winston. He was on Fox News yesterday promoting it, and he talked about the fact that he was supplanted in Tampa Bay by Tom Brady, and what Winston said, among other things, I have tremendous faith in my Lord, and one thing about Tom Brady is it's understood that he's the GOAT. For you to get replaced by Tom Brady in a city that you love so much, I guess that's kudos to me. I'm not sure that it is kudos to Jameis Winston. I don't think that it's an honor to be replaced by anyone as the starting quarterback. But look, I feel bad for Jameis Winston. No one has shown any interest in the guy. He's healthy. He had 5,109 passing yards last year, Chris, and it has been crickets for 3+ weeks for Jameis Winston. I can't get over it unless his financial expectations are so high that no one is even bothering to talk to him until he realizes that he isn't worth nearly what he thinks he's worth. Once he comes to that conclusion, then maybe some of these other teams will talk to Jameis Winston about a contract for 2020.
Yeah, I think that's very real. I mean, again, I think we both, and I think a lot of people in the NFL see some greatness from Jameis Winston when they break down his film and they go, wow. You know, we've talked about this a lot. His good is not just good, it's great. You know, but also there's the stigma of some of the things he's done, you know, off the field, right? That doesn't help him. And I do think he's corrected his life that way. And I've been around Jameis. He's got an electric personality. He's got juice, too, to where when he's in the locker room, you know, he loves football and he makes everybody else energy rise as well. The biggest problem, Mike, it might be the price tag like you talked about. And the other thing is this. You know, a lot of teams don't want a guy like Jameis Winston to come in and be their backup. He's just too talented. He's going to make a lot of starters not look as good, or have guys on the practice field scratching their head going, wait, why aren't we playing him? He outduels our starter every day. So that's where it's a little scary, I think, for Jameis Winston right now.
But why shouldn't he be the starter then? That's what's amazing to me. If he's going to come in and perform better than the starter, why isn't the team saying this guy should be our starter? And I know for some teams, the financial commitment is too great to pivot to someone else. You're already all in with someone else, and it's going to be incredibly expensive, and there's going to be a huge cap problem. But I agree with you. You know, the backup quarterback, most teams are looking for a guy who comes in, knows his role, accepts his role. He's there to prepare the veteran, or the starter, excuse me. He's there to be the veteran presence. He's there to help the starter. He's there to nudge the starter, but he's not there to try to take the starter's job. Some places want that, 1 and 2 who are battling it out, like the Bears this year. For the most part, they want a number 2 who understands this is who I am. This is my role. I'm only going to play if this guy gets injured, and that makes Jameis Winston not an attractive option because he's still going to want to play, and he's going to want to show up and prove that he's the best guy on the roster.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, well said. I mean, that's exactly right. You know, and plus, hey, there's going to be teams that are going to be out there that go, I don't know if I trust him to be my starter yet. So that's a little bit of the issue with Winston. To me, this is the play right here for Jameis Winston. You call the San Francisco 49ers, you call the Pittsburgh Steelers, you tell them I will play for the minimum. Who gives a damn about the money at this point? You've made money. If you want to resurrect your career, your next signing, you got to do the Teddy Bridgewater. You got to go to a team where you know if you get in, you can succeed. If I'm my buddy Kyle Shanahan, you know, and he's probably going to get pissed that I'm saying this, I'm just going to say it. I don't care. I'm calling Jameis Winston. You know, for the way Jimmy Garoppolo looked towards the end of the last season, you got a Super Bowl team, and you got a guy like Nick Mullins, who I'm sure is fine, but I think that's a risky proposition. And that, you know, the Steelers, the same thing. It's coming to the end for Big Ben. And I think a guy like Mike Tomlin could really handle a guy like Jameis Winston. And I think Jameis Winston could bring juice to that, you know, organization and certainly play well if he got in there.
I think you're onto something with the 49ers, and here's why. Kyle Shanahan wants to take a guy and basically turn him into a robot, right? And I don't mean that in a pejorative sense. That's the way his offense is. That's why Kirk Cousins works in an offense like that and not in an offense where, okay, Kirk, when it all falls apart, figure out what you're going to do. It has to be very regimented. It has to be very clear, and you have to tell the guy this is what you're going to do. Maybe that's what Jameis Winston needs to finally break free from those moments where he tries to figure it all out on his own and it ends up being a complete and total mess. If he could just buy in completely to someone like Kyle Shanahan, and maybe this is what Jameis has always been looking for, someone who will tell him exactly what to do so he doesn't have to improvise, so he doesn't have to figure it out on his own. He's got the skills physically to pull it off. You put him in a system like that, and he agrees with everything Kyle Shanahan tells him to do, and when it all falls apart, he just throws it away or hits the deck and doesn't try to make something out of nothing. That could be the perfect situation for him.
I agree, Mike. I mean, you hit it. I think you said all the right points. He's a master at making the game easy for the quarterback. One, the run game. Two, Jameis Winston's made for play action pass. And to your point and what you're saying, Mike, I mean, we watched the 49ers a lot. We were there in person. You watched the Super Bowl. There's a lot of times Shanahan only sends out 2 or 3 receivers. But because of his game planning and knowing formation usage and how to tie in the play action pass, it'll be 2 receivers, and he'll make it really simple for the quarterback. He'll say, like, hey, just read this guy. And if he goes that way, throw it to this guy. And if he goes that way, throw it to that guy. I mean, that's really how he makes it. And you're right. He wants a guy like that. And it would take some of the freedoms away from Jameis Winston and his ad-libbing and backyard type style of, going through the reads and going all over the place. I am with you, man. I think it would be a great fit for the 49ers. I hope my buddy Kyle Shanahan's listening and maybe takes my advice.
You mentioned the off-field issues. They never really stuck to him in Tampa Bay as it related to the team's attitude toward Jameis Winston. The stuff at Florida State, it didn't keep the Buccaneers from making him the first overall pick. He had the 3-game suspension a couple of years ago after the incident with the Uber driver. The NFL ultimately imposed that penalty. That never really seemed to diminish him in the eyes of the team. What got him in trouble with the team was the 30 interceptions and the regression down the stretch last year. But you may have some teams that take a different look at Jameis Winston based upon those things that have never really stuck to him in Tampa the way that maybe they would with other teams.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.